Hey everyone, Shabby Gamer here, and welcome back to another episode of Shabby Talk. I am joined, of course, by the one and only raspy Mr. Man himself.
Hello, I've returned. It's been a while. It's been too long. But we finally had the reunion tour back on show again. And we've got a lot to talk about. We've got a lot to talk about.
Yeah, but today we're going to talk about the most underutilized wrestlers currently in the WWE. Do you want to kick us off?
I was going to say, do you want to start with the undercard, mid-card, upper mid-card, apart from the main event?
Who do you think is the most underutilized?
You could literally pick off a handful at the moment.
I've always said Cesaro, but Cesaro seems to be getting a pretty decent amount of time on camera at the moment. But
and that's it. It would always be the start for Cesaro because he should be main event. I think that's common knowledge for a wrestling fan of his tenure over the past, decade. He's proven himself. I just think it's the language barrier and the twang because Vince doesn't really promote foreign talent unless they're heel. And that's why Cesaro's been always lost in the shuffle. But his moveset, just his overall, he should be there.
It's an odd one for me because he came in, he won the United States Championship on his very first run, and he doesn't seem to have ever progressed since then. He seems to have, if anything, sort of disappeared down. He seems to be forced in so many random tag teams. What's he been now? He's been
Tyson
Kidd.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's another one before that as well. He's been...
I think it might be that famous brass ring comment that has held him back. But you'd think after the Memorial Battle Royal that they would have shot him to the stars. I mean, at one stage he was also a Paul Heyman guy. And that one
I enjoyed that. I did.
Yeah, that one basically got put on a standstill because Brock Lesnar returned. So everything that they had planned for Cesaro got put to the back burner.
Fucking Lesnar destroys everything, doesn't he?
He does, and only on a part-time basis. But no, Cesaro should be much higher than he is now. I would say he is the main underutilized talent in the whole of WWE.
You say that, and I agree with you. He is very underutilized, but I don't think he's quite underutilized as Tyler Breeze and Fandango. I know you're going to laugh at me for that, but Tyler Breeze went from facing off against fucking Jushin Thunder Liger to now being jobbing against people. Don't get me wrong, he's got a championship match at the next pay-per-view alongside Fandango, but it baffles me because he was quite an effective heel in NXT, and he's literally been forced into this crap. But then again, he's doing pretty well now. And Fandango as well, if he was just Johnny Curtis, he might be doing a lot better, but he's been forced into this stupid gimmick where to try and get the soccer mums in.
Yeah.
And I just don't think it really works, and I think he's better than that, to be honest with you.
I think for separate cases, for Tyler Breeze, what happened in NXT is that his gimmick was over. Although it was different, I mean, the whole selfie cam going to the ring...
it took a while to get over.
It took a while to get over, but when it got over, it was over.
Yeah.
To the point where he was fighting Liger. And you think the sky's the limit for this man. And it was only a matter of time before he got the main roster push. But then again, Vince didn't like him. Vince didn't like the way... He didn't like the presentation, as well as Ascension, the Vaudevillains. It might have worked in NXT, but on the main roster, it doesn't rub well with him. For Fandango... If he didn't have such a catchy theme entrance, theme song, if that wasn't as you got to remember, this man beat Jericho at WrestleMania, to which that Jericho stated that he would not lose or job to a mid-card guy, and then 6 months later jobs to Fandango.
Well, that obviously means if he would not lose to a jobber or a mid-card guy, that obviously means that Jericho thinks that Fandango is a main eventer.
Well and truly.
Yeah.
Well and
definitely.
truly. But we cannot mention these two guys without mentioning Southpaw Regional Wrestling. Now, I contacted Shabby Gamer and said, look, you've got to watch this. Yeah. This is the best thing that WWE have churned out since a long time. And I remember watching it, and it was just short and sweet. It wasn't overdone. And to see people like Fandango and Tyler Breeze actually being funny instead of the forced scripted work that they're doing on SmackDown Live. I'm just hoping that they could take what they've got from there and use it.
Well, I think over the past few weeks, a lot of the stuff they've had on SmackDown has actually been very impressive from what I've read. I've not actually watched it myself, but
it's the Fashion Police.
Yeah, they've had a lot of comedy, a lot of comedy aspects. I think with the British one as well. I think Fandango is playing the role of Sherlock Holmes as well. It was apparently quite a funny little part, but it's difficult because I think they're a lot better than what they're being put across. It's the same with Jinder. Like I said before with Jinder, I think Jinder's a lot better than he's been jobbing for years, but he probably shouldn't have been.
Yeah.
And now he's been given this main event push. It looks a bit stupid because he's been jobbing for so long.
Exactly. When you're in three-man band and jobbing to little people.
And I think it's the same with Breeze and Fandango. No one takes them seriously because they've been jobbing for so long.
Exactly. And you got to remember they were in developmental with Florida Championship Wrestling. They'd both been there, the standouts from the very beginning. And they've finally been given the main event run as they duly deserved. But to me, they're lost in the shuffle. You're a bigger fan than I am.
I like to like everyone.
Like to like everyone.
Yeah,
it's hard to do when you're in a...
I'm a little bit of an optimist. I like to see the best aspects in everyone. And I think that... I don't like to think there's any jobbers around, to be honest, because I feel that everyone can add anything to a roster. Even Bo Dallas can add something to a roster, and that's saying something. And I'm not even going to mention Bo Dallas.
I'm going slightly silent now because of how I feel.
I think Bo Dallas is overutilised, in fairness.
Yeah.
But then look at a job as well. You got Curt Hawkins, and I think based on what he did as Brian Myers on the indie scene, he created himself a fantastic heel persona, and he did very well. He got booked up and down the country, and he came back to WWE, and again he's just been used as a jobber again, and it's difficult for him.
The only person who's come back after their releases is Jinder Mahal. Yeah. And Jinder Mahal, after let's not say body enhancement, he went to the gym, he worked really hard, and he's got the body that Vince wanted.
Those drugs are very expensive.
The legal ones. The legal ones.
Oh yeah.
The ones that Triple H took and never failed a drugs test.
Oh yeah. He's still waiting for that urine sample to come back from 95, isn't he?
Exactly. So that's why Scott Steiner was protesting all those years.
Oh, God.
So, basically, Jinder Mahal was the only jobber that has turned out to actually win. Curt Hawkins had all the vignettes. He had all the... He did. He had all the vignettes. He had all the sort of the hype of his return. Why hype a man with vignettes when he's going to job?
It was a rip-off of Chuck Norris, wasn't it?
Yeah. I mean... He had his cane. I saw a lot of shoot interviews, and he was very honest about his tenure in the WWE. And you'd think, you know what, bring him back, because he was in the Straight Edge with Zack Ryder in the Rated R tag team, I mean, they didn't really get far. There's not much to say about Brian Myers as far as being the Nearly Man, because he's not. Yeah.
When Curt Hawkins does a press up, he doesn't lift his body; he pushes down the earth.
He's more famous for the cane, and that's saying something.
It's a shame because, like I said, I think that when he left WWE, he really developed himself in the indie scene, and he's not really been able to really utilise that.
I think he was brought back too early. I think the best thing for Curt Hawkins was to have stayed on the indie scene for another year, go to Ring of Honor, polish up your ring work, and then come back a better person.
Yeah.
But all in all, on honesty, he's just had a haircut. He's had a bit of an attire change, but there's nothing really different about the man.
But then again, looking at him, if you look at what he's doing on Raw at the moment, this whole main event club or something like that, where he gets beaten every week by somebody who's getting pushed.
Yeah.
And that reminds me so much of... I forgot his name now. You know what I'm talking about.
Who are you talking about? I'm trying to think about somebody else.
What's his bloody name? I've got it written down on a piece of paper. I've forgotten his name. Who's going to tag team me right now?
Heath Slater.
Heath Slater, that's it. Heath Slater's little Legends run.
Yes.
Where he did the Legends thing. And
jobbing to Vader. And yeah.
That reminds me slightly what he's doing here. And he's just jobbing to Finn Balor and his job into this, that and the other. And I wonder whether... I don't think he's going to get over as much as Heath Slater did at the time. But that was what defined Heath Slater as a wrestler.
Well, the definition is enhancement talent. And that is exactly what it does, is enhancing the person who's going over. But this is going to take you on a swerve. I've got two for Underutilised.
Freaking two?
And what WWE have tried to do.
You come over here and you steal the attention of my videos.
Yeah, I haven't been here for a few months and I'm coming straight in.
Is it Gold Dust?
It is not Gold Dust. It is the combination of Apollo Cruz and Titus ONeil. Now, what's happened is that I don't want to keep on getting confused with Uhaa Nation, but Apollo Cruz came onto the SmackDown Live brand, came up far too early from NXT. He needed another 6 months in developmental before he came onto the main show, because he has got absolutely no charisma, none. But he's got the in-ring, and that's the difference.
Yeah.
So he's been drafted over to Raw. Not one of the main draftees. He was one of the first, where it was done on the website that he'd done the switch over. And then you've got Titus ONeil, who's acting as an agent, as a manager. So that's the only way of getting them both on screen, getting them over, is to work them as a mini faction. But both of them are underutilized, because Titus ONeil was nothing without the Primetime Players tag team, because every time he went solo, it failed. And the thing with Apollo is that I believe he's held back in his ring work. What he was doing in Dragon Gate and all the indies scene was his moveset was so much different.
Oh yeah.
And I'm not calling him a spot monkey, but in the way that his moveset was so much more better.
No, I know what you mean. He was very much... It was... I think he did a lot of spots because people didn't expect it from a man of his size as well. And I sort of, to go off on a little bit of a tangent, which is what we're known for.
Yeah.
I don't understand why they split Titus and Darren Young. I understand they want to do a little feud between the two of them. But then when the two of them split, they realise we've got fuck all for them to do apart from being together.
Mention Darren Young is another underutilised talent. Why?
I'm surprised in that. I really am surprised, because I assumed, not to jump to any stereotypes, but I assumed with WWE, the way the WWE are, when they get an openly gay wrestler, the first openly gay wrestler they've had, I'm surprised they didn't push him to the moon to try and get cheap publicity out of it.
All day long.
I'm surprised. I'm so surprised.
We'll start with the fact that he had Bob Backlund as his as his manager.
Yeah.
No offense to Bob Backlund, great champion that he was back in the 80s. But TNA took a chance with Orlando Jordan when he got released by the WWE for bringing his boyfriend to work. That's a legit story, by the way.
JBL.
Yeah. So he's a part of the cabinet. His sexual orientation came to light. Brought his boyfriend to show, and WWE didn't like it because he didn't ask for permission. So he went to TNA, and then all of a sudden they gave him this very open gimmick in the way that he'd have Dalton Castle's-esque boys as entourages, bringing him to the ring. You knew what the game was. And I'm surprised they didn't do it with Darren Young. I didn't think they'd want to take advantage of the fact that he was a homosexual, so to make a gimmick in light of that. But Bob Backlund, really? I mean, of all the people you could have paired off with Darren Young. I mean, Jack Swagger, the All-American American.
The Swagger.
Yeah, the Swagger.
Swagger.
He could have made... It would have made more sense with Bob Backlund because he was the All-American American.
Yeah.
But, hey-oh, that's Vince.
Hey-oh.
That's Vince. He makes the final call. And I think he buggered up big time. So...
Yeah. Well, I've still got a couple left that I want to go through. The first one is Neville. Now, I'm just worried about Neville because he came into the main roster before the Cruiserweights were around, and he never really managed to get much, did he really? He got a couple of, I still remember a good few moments, but nothing ever great. No championship runs, nothing like that, and I'm a little bit worried now that where the Cruiserweights have come in, that he's going to be very much defined as a Cruiserweight and stuck as a Cruiserweight. But as he's shown, I think he's one of the best things WWE have got at the moment. His heel persona is cracking.
Yeah.
And I really hope he gets more choice.
I think that talking as an Englishman, it is very hard to understand the Northern English language.
Even we can't understand it.
Yeah, and Shabby Gamer has family origins from the North. Waiapet. So basically, Neville's been stuck in a flux because he had that run with Barrett, where he was the king of the ring, and he was known as the...
That was his first, as far as I'm concerned, that was his first real push.
Well, if you don't include the NXT run, where he was the first ever NXT Tag Team Champion with Oliver Gray, he was also contesting for the main NXT Championship.
I saw Oliver Gray at Butlins, by the way.
I think everybody's seen Joel Redman since he's been released from the WWE because he's doing a hell of a lot of indie shows in holiday parks.
Yeah, he doesn't get the good shows. He just gets the holiday parks.
Well, business is business and money's money. But no, Neville. I mean, it's a conversation topic we've got for a few episodes coming up regarding the 205. But Neville is definitely lost in the shuffle.
Yeah.
As far as I think, if he was a few foot higher, then he would be more of a mid-card guy. His height stunts his growth. Double entendre in the way that he can't elevate himself to get further.
Yeah. I agree. I think the problem is it's going to be the same for nearly all the cruiserweights, because you look at people like Cedric Alexander, Rich Swann. People like this have got such good charisma, but I don't think they're ever going to really make it forward to the next level because they're going to be defined as a cruiserweight.
Yeah.
And as soon as they stop this whole stigma of a cruiserweight's a separate thing, they stop changing the ropes and changing the mat, and they stop this whole, these are lepers, these are different to these people. That would be better, I think. But yeah, I worry for them, I really do. But the last person I want to talk about is my favourite wrestler. One of the people that I think is most underutilised. A man that I thought was really going to get the chance at WrestleMania. Luke Harper.
Luke Harper.
The best big man WWE have got.
Yeah.
I just love the man. In a non Darren Young way.
No. If they made him the Braun Strowman of SmackDown Live, is in the way that this vicious heel who goes through everybody, you know, regardless of where they are on the card, they had so much potential with the man, and they just went backwards. The whole Battle Royal finish with him and AJ.
I was convinced he had it. I was convinced that main event was going to be Bray Wyatt, Luke Harper, Randy Orton, Wyatt family triple threat.
Yeah.
And that would have been a great match. The Bray Wyatt Orton match disappointed me. It wasn't as exciting as I thought it was going to be. But you had that as a triple threat with Harper in there.
Yeah.
That would have been a really interesting match at Mania.
I would think the Orton-Wyatt match at WrestleMania was quite possibly the worst WrestleMania match on the card. Regardless of the special effects with flies and maggots, it was boring. You know, we know this with Randy Orton. Why stick the strap on the man when he's not very good in the ring and can only give you a good 10-minute match?
He's bored.
Yeah.
He doesn't. I don't think he enjoys. It's a bit like Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar does not enjoy wrestling. Therefore, he doesn't put the effort in.
Everything is vintage.
Yeah.
So what you get is vintage ring work. So basically, with the underutilized talent, I mean, there is so many. I mean, you can add to the comment section below who you believe that is an underutilized talent. In our opinion, I mean, we could literally be here for another 20 minutes or so just going through the list of the roster. But these lads have, I mean, for myself, Curtis Axel, he's coming up to 40 years old, and he's had dodgy ring names with Michael McGillicuddy. Why not work on the fact that he's Mr. Perfect's son? Why not add that to his repertoire and just have him in a job squad and just getting people over? So there is a lot of...
they started off doing that with the whole Heyman thing, didn't they, really?
Yeah, because he was a Heyman guy.
He was.
Him and Ryback.
Yeah, and I don't know why they made Ryback a fucking Paul Heyman guy. I keep swearing in this video. I don't mean to. I've had too many beers.
Yeah, I've managed not to swear.
I know, you've been really good and I've been really bad. But
trying to be professional. So we've got a couple minutes left to run on this video. So for what we can end now is that most of the underutilized talents that we've discussed, let's be honest, when WWE make the job cuts, they're probably going to be gone and end up in Impact Wrestling. Let's not call it TNA, because it is no longer TNA.
Yeah.
It is Impact Wrestling. So these undercards, these opening guys, they're going to be gone. So they've had a good tenure. They've been paid very good money. And I think it's time for them to either go Impact or go on the indie scene.
Plus, all the guys that are going to, if they do get released, any of these guys, they're going to have so much hype and so much TV time that they're going to earn a fortune on the indie scene.
Of course they are.
And for stuff like Pro Wrestling Tees and stuff like that, they're going to earn a fortune. So it's not a bad thing. Being released from the WWE is not a bad thing. You look at people like Kenny Omega, the Young Bucks, but that's for a different video, that. But you look at those sort of guys, they've done incredibly well from being released from WWE. So it's not the end of the world, and I think that just because you're underutilized doesn't mean you're going to be underutilized everywhere. So maybe in some cases it might be better for them to leave, as Jack Swagger asked for his release and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I think that's probably about what we got in this episode. Are you happy with that?
I'm very happy with that. I mean, we've got a lot more to talk about in the future weeks coming. So this is the very start of my return to Shabby Gamer's YouTube channel. Yep. It's great to be back, and we will continue with more discussions.
Back for good. Does that take that? Doesn't it?
It is.
Well, drop down in the comment section who you think is the most underutilized wrestler in the WWE, and let me know why. And of course, we'll reply to you as well. If you have any other things you want to tell, let us know in the comments. I'm just talking bollocks now, aren't I, really?
Yeah, let's edit that bit out.
I've ruined it. I've absolutely ruined it now. Like and subscribe, and we'll see you all very, very soon for some more Shabby Talk. I've been Shabby Gamer. He's been
PJ Tovey.
And we'll see you very, very soon for some more Shabby Talk. Bye.